So this video is a response to a live stream and a collection of other videos by the Academic Agent on the topic of the positive vision for the right. This was going to be a list of critiques and suggestions I had, but has since morphed into this. So, if you've seen the Good Student channel, I was on there not so long ago, about May time, bringing up this idea of the kind of based English village as a vestige of civilized traditional society amongst the sea of POS, the multicultural hellscape. But at the time, I kind of framed it as this other option for the right. The other one, of course, being his network of tens idea. And my criticism of that broadly ran along the lines of it just being too difficult. His idea, if I understand it correctly, sort of boils down to kind of this small vanguard of high caliber people who would start their own corporations and produce art and products and services for each other and things. My main criticism of that was that there was actually the fact that there was no physical location for people to pull their resources into, rather. That for me represented a problem because it just felt like there was no goal in mind. So yeah, I just didn't see it happening. And actually, I thought that at the time, AA would at some point reveal that he had gone down this path of the physical location community. So I'm glad he's finally come around. And I know this concept is in its early days, but I actually, think that the way this is going, if he is genuine in his suggestion, is that over the next few months and years, there will be kind of many more events, right? And these will be opportunities to develop the ideas and network and actually perform some of that practical strategizing, organizing, whatever. Yeah, naturally, I've sort of been into this for a few months, so I'm pretty much in love with this idea. I'll tell you why in a sec. I'm also empathetic to AA when he talks about how black-pilled he is about his own audience, and I kind of share his frustration in a way when I see someone in the chat saying like, how is one bakery supposed to service 30,000 people, AA? Or when it's seeing someone on Twitter saying they hate the Soviet style micromanagement or whatever, and they want their freedoms and things. And I'm just surprised by how many people haven't cottoned on to the fact that freedom in and of itself is not an inherent good. Like, and that, given the choice over a long enough time span, people will just choose the wrong option and will give in. It is the fallen nature of humans. And I thought that we had more or less, as a community, already come to terms with this. That freedom and subversion are almost one and the same, in a way. Yeah, but then again, I never really thought of myself as a libertarian. Man is defined by the things he's enslaved to. His physical form, his duty to God, his need for relationships and work and a calling, and to be competent at those things. And freedom in this context is just kind of like a negation of what it means to be human. I think human nature is like a cup of jelly almost. Because of the cup, the jelly is kind of, it keeps its shape, but once you remove the cup, the jelly collapses and loses its form. I'm getting to the point personally where I hear like more freedoms, and I just think like they just want the freedom to coom, freedom to abandon your responsibilities, freedom to question the foundations of reality, when really that is the last thing that we need. Uh, freedom is like a stepping stone on the way to the carnival, and we'd expect nothing less than for a liberal society to just eventually give in to the spirit of carnival, because its subversion is kind of built right into the system. Like it's like incorporating like dynamite right into the foundations of your own house. Like, so yeah, people who are still trying to hang on to their four freedoms are yet to transcend their programming, in my opinion. And to those who kind of critique the mission statement as not being like libertarian enough, like you just don't understand the statement, I think, without sounding too mean. Okay. Next point is about technology. It's something that was on my mind whilst watching that video. Or whilst thinking through this whole thing. You might tell me that I'm just like kind of stuck in liberal waters or whatever, but there's still part of me that thinks of technology as not being inherently bad in itself. Like, of course, all technology that opens the door to subversion should be rightly banned, like social media and things. But there is an extent to which it's just a matter of practicality that you need things like water, sewage, electrical, and logistical infrastructure to run safely and consistently. And all of these things are just all these essential things are just made easier by using modern technology. At least in the early stages, like technological retardation is also a possibility within Trumpton, right? Um, yeah, and it's sort of ironic because we're thinking about this as being an endlessly looping um, thing, and for that it needs to be sustainable, right? And this is a point that was brought up by Morgoth and that Woodlander bloke on the podcast that Morgoth did, which is that sustainability is actually the shared goal between us and the forces behind the Great Reset and globalism, let's say. And so, whether you like it or not, the technology that will grant us this sustainability is being developed by our enemies, if that makes sense. And so, would you accept these technologies as being subversive to the life of Trumpton? Um, things like these are just examples like vertical farming, hydroponics, solar panels, false meat. Those machines they've got that they can just 3D print full size houses like extremely cheaply. Uh, I suppose like the counteracting force to all this. Yeah, I suppose the counteracting force, like to the automation and mechanization of the functions of Trumpton, is partly reliant on the extent to which um, that technology can be maintained locally. And I guess that is itself reliant on the extent to which Trumpton is connected to the outside world. For example, like if whether it's located on that island off the coast of Russia, or like just out of the English countryside. Yeah, I suppose also if we're working from the assumption that we're completely reimagining the goals and incentives here. So in Trumpton, the assumption is that work is good, or rather that work is fulfilling, maybe, and therefore like a necessary part of life. And only a certain amount of technological development is needed really for that. Let's say that the baker is sufficiently serving his community, and then all of a sudden he figures out a way to totally automate the process of making bread, and like virtually removes his part in the process of production. This would be like deeply frowned upon because um, work and working for each other is sort of the binding agent of the community, right? Um, Having to physically get up in the morning and like go to work and service communities, and just and so just if you automate or mechanize your specific post, um, when you're already servicing the needs of like the needs of the community that your role was assigned to fill, like that should rightly be banned, in my opinion. Because the goal is not like we're not playing single player Factorio, right? The goal is not efficiency. The goal is to meet the needs. Yeah, And it doesn't mean that you have to intentionally put yourself in harm's way. Like, whilst you're doing your carpentry, you can still wear gloves and stuff. You just can't use like a giant container-sized machine that you can just chuck wood in one end and it spits out products out the other end, right? All right, so there's that. I think for the sake of time, I'll just leave out that other point. So yeah, overall, I love this idea. It's very much in the realm of what I was thinking, of what I was feeling as well. Our own little corner of the world that I can bring children into, and really that's what it's all about. Really, it's about ensuring a future for our ideas and things. I don't really know the percentage of people in this sphere who are my age, like late teens, but here's the thing, right? This is your life, and this problem isn't going anywhere. And we can't just LARP on the internet forever. And I know this idea isn't easy, and we need land, we need resources, energy, people, expertise, knowledge, kind of the right ideas, and a lot and money, I guess. Yeah. And the beginning of this is going to be this conversation we have online now, and the events and later events, which I would love to come to. The internet is only useful up until a certain point, because we're kind of caught up in the LARP, and there will come a point where the wheat and the chaff need to be separated, if that makes sense. And finally, if you like this idea and if you yourself are interested in kind of making the first step, come talk to me. Make yourself known. Talk to anyone. In fact, attend the event, attend later events. I'm young. I have most of my life yet to go. When I think about it, I get a lot of anxiety. I'm very worried for the future. I don't want to just get caught up in the crossfire of the machine. I don't want to go quietly into that good night. And so yes, something needs to be done. Our futures more or less depend on it, right? That is all. Get in touch, make yourselves known, carry on.